Welcome. I'm Master Wayne, and this is my FBA Amazon tutorial. And my real name is Wayne McShay, and I have been an Amazon FBA expert and personal coach for the past 2.5 years. And I've been doing this business now for the past 11 years. So without further ado, I'm just going to get right in it, and I'll tell you more about myself a little bit later in the presentation. So everyone is familiar with Amazon because it's a household name, but it's amazing how many people don't know what goes on behind the scenes because they never inquire, they never do their research. So just to take you back to 2015, my divorce was just finalized, and a year and a half ago, I had started an Amazon business. I found a company called The Amazing Selling Machine, and I paid them $3,000. Their course only opened up twice a year, and it taught me how to start off with private label. And so I decided, after a little bit of research and digging, that I wanted to manufacture my own pair of nail clippers. I grew up as a military brat because my father was in the Navy, so I've always wanted to finish traveling the world because we moved around every 2 years, and it was exciting. So I wanted that for my adult life. So the course taught me how to contact manufacturers all around the world, submit a work order, and then get quotes for how much it would cost to have my product produced. And after a couple of months of negotiating, I found a great company out of China who could produce my nail clippers for pennies on the dollar, actually 36 cents. And I was able to retail those nail clippers on Amazon for $12.99. All right. So at the time, I didn't know anything about nail clippers, but what I did was I went to Amazon, I typed in nail clippers, and 17 results came up on the first page. And from those 17 results, I pulled out a spreadsheet, and I read all the reviews, and I wrote down what customers loved about nail clippers and what they didn't like about the nail clippers. And when I was done, I had compiled enough information from enough nail clipper owners to now, in my mind, manufacture what I thought would be the perfect pair of nail clippers. So without boring you with the details, this is the end result. And I didn't stop there. After my nail clippers were a success, I decided to move on to my second product. And the crazy thing about the nail clippers is that 90 days after I got them up on Amazon and started running sponsored ads to them, I literally woke up one morning and I was making over $600 a day. And so I got in my car on Monday morning, and I drove down to Peachtree Street and went straight to the passport office. I looked up the information I needed online. And so, of course, I had to stop at Walgreens and had them take a photo of me. And I went down to the passport office and paid, my $100 fee. I think it was like 145. Can't really remember the exact amount. But that was 2015. And by the time October of 2015 came around, I had my passport. I was now making $18,000 a month. And so I booked a 3-month trip to Medellin, Colombia. And I've been traveling the world ever since. I've been to 4 continents, 26 countries, and I've also been to 41 of the 50 United States. All right. So my second product, the Pan Piper's oven glove, I didn't know anything about oven gloves, but I took a trip to Home Depot and Lowe's, and I pulled their oven gloves off the shelves and just read what was on the package and looked at the formatting. And then I hired a graphic designer from Fiverr to help me put everything that I wanted about my oven gloves on this box, and thus became my second product. Now, interesting enough, after being on Amazon for only a month or two, I received an email from someone who loved the design and loved the way I manufactured them, and they wanted to buy them outright. And they made me an offer and I accepted. And so it was a nice little lump sum payday paid out directly to me. And you can Google Pan Piper's oven gloves, and they've disseminated them all over the internet since then. So obviously they've done well with them, and I've done very well with them. And then, of course, my nail clippers. At first, this was the first rendition of them, the sample. And at first, I simply called them Wayne's Extraordinary Clips. But of course, I had to change that to something more eye-catching, or, just something more valuable. So I ended up naming them the Smiley Face Nail Clippers because I had this smiley face etched into them to make them whimsical for the children, because children at a certain age don't like to have their nails clipped, but the nail clip, the smiley face, made it tolerable. All right, now, if you live in the United States, you're probably already familiar with these retailers, right? You have Walmart, Home Depot, Costco, CVS, Target, Lowe's, Walgreens, Kroger, and Best Buy. These are the top 10 retailers in the United States. Is it 10 or 9? Okay, 2, 5, 9. All right, so it's 9. All right, the top 9 retailers in the United States, and they're worth a little over $1 trillion, 1.07 trillion to be exact. And Amazon, of course, is worth more than all 9 of those retailers combined. And that's something that a lot of people just don't know. They don't know how truly large of a conglomerate Amazon actually is. And they're worth over $1.4 trillion. All right, now what people also don't know is that Amazon has a program called FBA, stands for Fulfillment by Amazon. That means that whatever you ship into their warehouses, they'll fulfill, they'll pick, they'll pack, they'll prep, and they'll will ship those items directly to your customers after you sell them. Right. So this is Amazon's entire business model. They started out doing this with books, and that's what Amazon was known for back in the day in the early 2000s. And then they figured out that they could do this with almost everyday household products. And that's what they've been doing, for almost the last 15 years. Now, when you become an Amazon seller, that gives you the capacity to reach 185 countries. So you'll have customers pretty much around the world, because give or take, there are only 195 countries in the world as it is. So it gives you global reach. Now, Fulfillment by Amazon was launched in 2006, and it allows you to literally serve 51% of the planet, which is absolutely crazy because there are over 8 billion people on this planet. Now, that gives you access to 100 fulfillment centers worldwide, right? And a fulfillment center is simply where you ship your products to. And Amazon will check them in and put them up on their shelves, and they'll go live on the Amazon.com websites all over the world. And once they sell, Amazon will pull it off the shelf. They'll pick it, they'll pack it, they'll prep it, and then they'll ship it straight to your customer. And more than likely, your Amazon customer is going to have an Amazon Prime membership, which in which case they can get their product within 2 days, priority shipping. All right. And that also gives you access to 15 global sorting centers. Now, Amazon is just a huge behemoth of a website, right? And business. So in the United States alone, the estimated traffic that pours through Amazon is over 2.31 billion. And then you have Canada at 133 million and Mexico at 48 million. And that's not even all the Amazon marketplaces that actually exist right now. So we'll go over that a little bit later. But as you go down the list, you can see that the traffic pouring into Amazon is just absolutely unfathomable. And this is what makes this business model so easy, because all you have to do is do some research and analysis on what's selling, and purchase it at a low price, ship it in, and you're pretty much guaranteed that it's going to sell because you don't have to go hunting for the customer. The customer is already there. Now, so here's a synopsis of the whole product. So the first thing I do every single morning is I source products. And the way I source products is now I have a team of virtual assistants who give me 10 leads per day. Those leads are products that they've found at a retail website or a wholesale website or directly from a manufacturer that I can purchase at the cheapest price on the planet. All right, so that's buying low. The next thing I do is I send those products to a third party company called a prep and ship company because I don't want those products sent to my house because I'm not home. And even if I was at home, I don't want to handle products. I want to spend my time doing what I do right now, and that's being out traveling the world. So the prep and ship will receive your products, they will unbox it, inspect them, and then box it back up per Amazon's terms and conditions and ship them into Amazon. And once they arrive at Amazon, they're checked in the inventory, they go live in your account, and they'll sell at a higher retail price, and Amazon will pay you the difference. You take that difference and you pocket it direct deposit into your bank account as profit, and then you rinse and repeat and come closer. Now, the beauty of this business model is that you can do this with an unlimited number of products. So just let that sink in for a second. All right, so let's get into the nitty gritty. So this is a product that I actually used to purchase. This is a digital electric smoker from Home Depot. I used to purchase this from Home Depot for $187.31. And you can see right here in the middle of this screenshot that my profit every time I sold this on Amazon was $135.65. That's a return on investment of 72%. How long would it take you to recoup an investment, a reinvestment, a return on investment of 72% while your money is sitting in the bank? I don't care if you combined it with a IRA, a money market account, and your savings account combined. It's just not going to equal up to that. All right. And right here, this tells me that this product is continuously selling 13 times per month. And this data comes directly from Amazon. Now over here is the sale price on Amazon. So I purchased this from Home Depot for 187, and then I'll ship it into Amazon. And on Amazon, it will retail for $499.99. Now, okay, here's the most logical question you can ask at this point. Okay, Wayne, if you're paying 187 for this product from Home Depot, why would someone go to Amazon and purchase it for 500? And the answer is people are creatures of habit. So some people have never went online and shopped at Home Depot. So they'll never know that this is 187 at Home Depot. They're just religious Amazon shoppers. So when they go to Amazon, the cheapest price they will discover is probably $500 and they'll buy it. And this is the way e-commerce works around the planet. Whenever you buy something, unless you manufacture it by hand or by a third-party company, you're going to end up paying retail or wholesale for it. All right. And if it doesn't sell retail, then it goes to the distribution channels and it'll probably end up in thrift stores or outlets. All right. But this is how e-commerce works globally, not just on Amazon. So that's why, you could typically sell something for a higher price and buy it for a lower price. And think about the Forex currency exchange market. Now that I've spent the past 9 years traveling around the world, every single day I notice fluctuations in exchange markets and currency. So to give you an example, if you were to look up the 10-year index of the United States currency versus the Thai baht, you'll see a grid that goes up and down like a large graph where Today, the United States dollar is worth $36 compared to the Thai baht. And then it's down to 33, then 34. And while this is simultaneously going on, you'll see fluctuation at different exchanges. So exchange on this side of the street may say, okay, the US dollar is 34.25. But on this side of the street, it may say 35.25. So brokering those differences can make you a lot of money if you know how to do it successfully and correctly, of course. All right, so let's lay out exactly what this looks like. So first, I purchased eight, right? So I go to Home Depot, I buy eight digital electric smokers. The cost is $187.31. So that means I've now paid out $1,500 for eight digital electric smokers, right? So next I have those eight digital electric smokers shipped into Amazon. Once they arrive at Amazon, they get checked in the inventory, and then, like magic, they go live on the Amazon.com website. I know that it's going to sell 13 times this particular month, so I know that all eight will sell. All right. And so once I sell all eight, I now have made a revenue of $3,999.92. So let's just call that 4K. All right. So now that I've made 4K, Amazon has to get paid. Plus, I have to account for all my expenses. So Amazon fees plus all my expenses, I pay out $1,416.25 from that $4,000 revenue. And then that leaves me with a total disbursement from Amazon of $2,583.67. All right. And so remember the 1,500 that I paid for all eight of these digital electric smokers? Well, first and foremost, I get that back. And then on top of that, I'm left with a profit of $1,085.19. So this is literally what I do every single day. It's the first thing I do when I wake up, even before I brush my teeth. No cap, right? Brushing my teeth can wait. So I get up in the morning, I walk directly to my computer, and this process takes me maybe 15 minutes. You know, my VAs give me a spreadsheet with 10 products that I could purchase every single day. I go through those 10 products, pick out the ones that I like, and make sure that my profit adds up to $1,000 for the day. And then I'm done, literally 15 minutes. And so that's how I'm able to earn $30,000 a month. And that's how I've been traveling the world for the past 9 years. Now, gets even better because here's yet another product that I used to purchase. This is a sewing machine that I used to purchase from Joanne.com. I used to purchase this for $119. And as you can see, I would purchase a quantity of five, and they would retail on Amazon for $259. So my profit would be $77. And then my return on investment would be 66%. And again, I can see right here that this sells 72 times every single month. All right. Now it gets better. So now that I know that, I automatically can look down here and see that, okay, I'm going to make $385 off of the five sewing machines that I just purchased. So imagine me waking up and it's early in the morning. I get on my computer, I go to Joanne.com, I purchase five of these and I send them into Amazon. And after 30 days, they've arrived and they've sold, and boom, I've just made $400 in literally 15 minutes worth of work. And after that, turn my computer off and I get my day started by brushing my teeth. All right, so that's as simple as it is. I can go a little bit much deeper, but of course, I don't want to make this presentation that long. Now, here's another example. This is a Disney monster plush toy. And as you can see, you can run down to your local Target and pick this up for $16.99, or you could just jump on your computer and navigate over to target.com and same thing, buy this for $16.99. What are you going to do after you buy this for $16.99? Let me show you. All right, so as you can see right here on my screenshot, you're going to buy it for $16.99, and look at that. It's retailing on Amazon for $52.98. So I would purchase a quantity of 10, and my profit would be $22.71, and my ROI would be 133%. And I can see right here that it's selling 45 times a month. All right. So a little bit more data. Okay, I know that it's selling 45 times a month, but I can also see that there's only 3 people selling it. The first 2 people have it priced at $44.98, and the last seller has it priced at $52.98. And right beside their price is their stock level. So between all 3 sellers, they only have 8 in stock. If you subtract 8 from 45, you're going to be left with 37. So literally, if I wanted to, I could have purchased 37 of these, but I try not to be greedy, so I only purchased 10. So here's a breakdown of that entire transaction. First, I purchased the product right here, number one, for $16.99. After shipping it into Amazon, it retails for $52.98. All right. After it sells for $52.98, after all of my expenses and Amazon fees, I end up paying out $13.14. So what I'm left with is a disbursement payment from Amazon directly into my Seller Central back office of $39.84. Now that money sits there and it accumulates, and every 2 weeks, Amazon pays you out. However, once you get your business started, if you don't want to wait 2 weeks for your profit to hit your bank account direct deposit, let me know and I'll show you how to get Amazon to pay you every single day so you can reinvest your profits and keep scaling up your business. And so after Amazon directly deposit the $39.84 into my bank account, then you can see I was paid out a reimbursement of the product for $16.99. So the money that I paid for the product, I get that back. And then on top of that, I have a $22.85 profit. So now you pretty much now you see how this works. You'll purchase a product and then you'll ship that product into Amazon. You've already done the research and analysis. And of course, once that product sells, what's left over after Amazon fees and all your expenses would be your profit. So this is just a visual interpretation of how that works. Ordinary people like myself, actually 60% of all the products that you see on Amazon, and they're literally over a billion. They come from ordinary people like myself or you or a mom and pop store, or maybe your neighbor that you just don't realize that this is what they do for a living. All right. So they send products into Amazon. They arrive at Amazon fulfillment centers all over the United States or all over the world. And when you ship something into Amazon, you don't determine what Amazon fulfillment center they go to. I live in Atlanta, and there are literally 5 Amazon fulfillment centers within a 20-mile radius of where I live. And I can't walk into an Amazon fulfillment center and drop off my products, even if I wanted to, because it doesn't work that way. You have to ship them in. All right. Next, they'll go live on the Amazon.com websites all over the world, right? And so the customer sees it, customer purchase it because that's exactly what they're looking for, because you knew that in advance. Amazon picks it, packs it, pulls it off the shelf, and ships it to the customer, and it arrives 2 days if they have Amazon Prime 2-day shipping. But if they don't have Amazon Prime, they'll literally get it in about 1 week. Now, this is another real world example of a product that I used to sell. And being that I'm a resident of Atlanta, I would actually go into Kroger and Publix and then go to a different Kroger and Publix or Wayfield every single day and buy 50 of these. So they would retail, I mean, they would I could purchase them for $2.86, right? And then I would, of course, try to get 50 of them. And then I would send them into Amazon and I would be able to sell them for $14.99. And so, that's $143 in terms of expenses for buying all 50 of them, and then $357 for profit after I sold all 50 of them. And, after you do this every single day, that alone gave me $10,000 a month in income. So obviously, I would do this every day religiously, jump in my cars and go to a different Kroger every single day, or Publix or Wayfield. And so this is called retail arbitrage. And when you become an Amazon seller, you get a little app that you can download from your phone called the Amazon Seller app. And when you're actually in a store, you can pull out your phone, activate the camera, and take a picture and scan the barcode of any product, and the Amazon app will let you know if that product is available for sale on Amazon. And then it tells you, okay, if you purchase this for 286 and you sell it on Amazon for 14.99, it tells you what your profit would be after all your expenses. So this process is known again as retail arbitrage, and it's very simple to do. So if you're a hands-on person, this is a great way for you to get started making money. Now, Amazon is a conglomerate of a company, and they are worldwide. And here are five of the fastest growing Amazon global marketplaces: Turkey, Japan, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, and Australia. And to note, when you get started selling on Amazon, I make sure that I get you registered as a North American seller. That means that when you ship your products into fulfillment centers in the United States, you'll be eligible to now have those products shipped to customers in Canada, the 48 continental United States, that excludes Alaska and Hawaii, and of course, Mexico and Brazil, with no other effort or work on your part. Amazon will handle everything else from that moment on. So, can you imagine starting an Amazon business today? And, maybe 2 weeks from now, you're now selling products in Canada, 48 continental United States, Mexico, and Brazil. And I've been to Brazil. I've been to Rio and Salvador Bahia. I spent like 2 months in Rio and 4 months in Salvador Bahia. And let me tell you, if you want to see more of that journey, go to Philly Dom's YouTube channel. Again, that's Philly Dom. That's PhillyDom. And I spent that 4 months out there with Philly Dom, and he would just interview me every single day. And we'd be out and about in Brazil, meeting people, having a good time. And so it's a beautiful country. Just learn a little Portuguese before you go. And yeah, Brazil is going to be a hot marketplace, because right now, if you've ever been to a shopping mall in Brazil, you can't find any retail stores that are empty. And when you go to a shopping mall, it's completely full. It's like the United States shopping malls used to be 20 years ago, where there was no retail space. And if you wanted retail space, you had to get on a waiting list. So it's still like that in Brazil, but it's slowly starting to shift the way the United States shifted 20 years ago, because more Brazilians want everything that they see, online, and they can't find it in the local shopping malls because the shopping malls can only have a limited inventory. But when you transfer it to online, you can almost have an unlimited inventory. So everything is easier to find. The color, the shape, the size that you want, it's easier to find online. All right, now, so if you're not familiar with me, So one of the questions that I see come up very often in the Amazon landscape is Amazon is oversaturated. And the first thing you want to do in life is ensure that you don't listen to the naysayers or just people in general, because most people don't know what they're talking about and they never conduct their research to even verify whether that the information they're spreading is accurate or not. So let me walk you through whether or not I think Amazon is saturated just based purely off the numbers. So worldwide, there are 9 million Amazon registered sellers. Okay. And here's the crazy part about that statistic. Out of those, let's just call that 10 million. Out of the 10 million registered Amazon sellers, only 2.3 million of them are active on the Amazon marketplaces. So think about that. You've got 10 million people who registered to become an Amazon seller and start an Amazon business, but only 25% of them actually took action. And so in the United States alone, there are only 1.1 million active sellers. So there are 350 million people in the United States. So that's far less than 1% of the United States that actually sells on the Amazon marketplace. And so every day, roughly 3,700 new sellers join Amazon. And 25% of those 3,700 new sellers would never do anything with their Amazon account. So don't let the numbers fool you. All right, next. If you look at the screenshot, you'll see that that Amazon pulls in $4.4 billion a week, $638 million a day, pays pay specific attention to the $638 million a day. I'm gonna come back to that in a second. $26 million per hour and over $400,000 each minute. All right. And so if you missed the whole Google, Wealth Rush, Tesla, Netflix, AOL, Facebook, Microsoft, Bitcoin, NFTs, do not fret because Amazon is still a game changer. So remember I told you that there are 350 million people in the United States. That's men, women, and children. Well, if you if Amazon were to pay every single man, woman, and child in the United States $1,000 a day, which is $30,000 a month, Amazon would still profit $288 million a day. Does that sound like they're oversaturated? I don't think so. So again, the numbers always give you a clear indication as to precisely what's going on. So that way you don't have to listen to the person over here in your ear saying, oh man, don't do no Amazon business. Amazon been around for 20 years. It's oversaturated. You can't do anything on that. All right. So how did all this kind of come together for me? Well, when I started my Amazon business back in 2015 with my pair of nail clippers and they became successful, I went downtown to the passport office in Atlanta, Georgia, got my passport, and I booked a trip to Medellin, Colombia in October of 2015. And I was gone for 3 months, right? That was the maximum time that you could go to Colombia and not have to renew your visa. So I was there for 3 months. And while I was there for 3 months, I met these two great guys that you see in the picture, Giordano and Luke. And I even had a friend that I was dating at the time fly from Atlanta to come visit me for a week. And that's who you see in the picture with me. That's Keisha. She's a nurse. And so I became very good friends with Giordano and Luke. And Giordano became one of my mentees later on. And Luke, of course, it kind of put the bug in my ear because he was a business owner himself and he was in Medellin, Colombia doing search engine optimization for the local grocery stores where he ranked them number one on Google, and then they would pay him $30,000. So I was like, I love your business model. And he was like, hey, I love yours too. You're selling nail clippers and you don't have to do anything. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And then he was like, well, you own the nail clippers, but Amazon has hundreds of millions of products. So he asked me, Wayne, can you sell those other hundreds of millions of products along with your nail clippers? And at the time, I had no idea. So when I came home from Colombia back to Atlanta, I spent the next 2.5 years putting together a system on and making sure that it was duplicable. So I had to first make sure that I could do it, make sure I abided by all the guidelines so I wouldn't get suspended from Amazon. And lo and behold, Luke was absolutely correct. You could. And nowadays, I know that that business model is called arbitrage. And so now I had two business models on Amazon. I had private label and I also had arbitrage. All right. And and in that screenshot, you can see that Giordano sent me a screenshot after he got started, and he was up to $5,042 in 1 month. And in Medellin, Colombia, he is living like a boss. He is now long since got married and had another baby, a son, and he's living the good life. He was even able to purchase an entire apartment in Medellin, Colombia, in a nice little tourist area, turn it into a 6 bedroom Airbnb, and now he rents that out. And so he has Airbnb income and Amazon income. And this is another one of my mentees. This is Colin Beckford. And this is Colin sending me a screenshot once he got to the point where he was making over $10,000 per month. This is Walter, and Walter was a very special client. He was one of my first clients to ever say, okay, Wayne, I saw your information on Philly Don's YouTube channel, but I'm skeptical. I'm still skeptical. So I want to fly into the Dominican Republic because that's where I was at the time. And I want to meet you in person and sit down with you at your computer so I can see this live and in living color. So that's exactly what he did. I met him in Rumbas in Sosua of the Dominican Republic. I took him back to my villa. I set him down right beside me, and I showed him exactly what I'm showing you now. And so he wrote, "Thank you, Wayne, for leading me to the water. I sure is thirsty. With patience and vigilance, things are starting to blossom. If one thing isn't working for us, shift a couple of pieces around. There are many ways to go about this. Sharing information isn't sharing your products." And Walter is right. There are a myriad of ways for you to do this. And Walter is a truck driver. And incidentally, he was delivering Amazon products, pallets of Amazon products. So this was bittersweet for Walter. And when he sent me the screenshot, he was bringing in over $4,350 every 2 weeks. So he was already beating his trucking income, you know, in that short span of time. And this is Mark Metellus. He's a police captain in Philadelphia. And when he reached out to me, he told me that he and his wife were actually already Amazon sellers and they were selling books, but they couldn't break $1,000 a month. So he became one of my mentees. And his first screenshot was like, hey, Wayne, we're now up to $3,000 a month in sales. I was like, that's great. Congratulations. Keep going. And then he sent me another screenshot a couple of months later, and him and his wife are now bringing in $11,000 a month. All right. So he definitely was able to crush it. And that $11,000 a month is his profit. All right. So his sales is $40,000 a month. All right. And his profit is $11,000 a month. So you can see that his ROI is about 33%. All right. So this is Vanessa. And when Vanessa reached out to me, she was like, hey, Wayne, I really need this to work. My husband is having some medical issues, and we have limited savings like everybody else, and I really need this to work because now I'm going to be the breadwinner. And so Vanessa got started, and she sent me this screenshot and this text message saying, good morning, Wayne. Hope all is well. Thank you so much for your mentorship. My goal was to make 5,000 in sales, but as of last night, it was $6,000. So how can I begin to scale even further before the end of the year? And so this gave her the free time to also write her very first book called Women Healed and Whole. So if you're interested in that, make sure you go pick that up. This is another mentee of mine, Andrea Furlow, and within her first 45 days, she was earning over $1,200 a month. So a year and a half ago, my niece got married in Las Vegas, so I had to fly home from the Dominican Republic to Atlanta, and then from Atlanta all the way across the country to Las Vegas. And my family, of course, also flew out. So I was there for 10 days. I arrived 3 days before my family. And after my family left, I stayed for an additional 3 days. And one of my clients called me and said, hey, I saw on Facebook you're going to Las Vegas for your niece's wedding. I would like to drive up to Las Vegas and meet you in person. And that's what Tavara did. She jumped in her car and she drove 3 hours up to Las Vegas to meet me in person. And this is us at Yard House meeting for the first time in person. And this is a screenshot of her making $5,000 every 30 days. And here are two more of my good clients, Marsha and Sheldon. They're from Atlanta. And, this is their screenshot of when Marsha was bringing in $1,200 every 2 weeks. And she's like, hey, Wayne, Sheldon and I want to come out to the Dominican Republic and take a 6 week, not a 6 day vacation and stay with you. And I was like, no problem. There's more than enough room. I have a gigantic 3 bedroom villa. Every bedroom has a king size bed and air conditioning. I'll even supply you with a rental car. So they flew in and they stayed for 6 days, and I love them to death, and we had a good time. And of course, beside me was my Dominican girlfriend at the time, Ani. And this was actually my very first mentee. So this is Elena, and Elena and I have known each other for about 11 years. We started playing volleyball together right around 2013, 2014. And we ended up on a volleyball team together playing in a volleyball league. And, I used to be a basketball player, but, after the age of 40, I was like, okay, I got to hang up my basketball shoes. And then I picked up volleyball. And turns out, it was a sport that I loved even more than basketball. So, long story short, this is Elena sending me a screenshot after I mentored her. And this is her earning $10,000 every 30 days. All right, here's yet another mentee of mine. And this is Tony Hampton. And when Tony reached out to me, he was like, Wayne, I'm doing pretty well for myself already by doing real estate, but I'm curious about this Amazon business. So let's get this party started. And this is Anthony sending me a screenshot when he hit $10,000 per month. Now, The only time I wasn't able to travel like I'm doing now was during COVID. I kind of saw the whole thing COVID unfold and I was ready for it in advance. I was actually back in Medellin, Colombia, visiting a friend. And this was like February. And as soon as I got back home at the end of February, on March the 13th, the whole world went into lockdown along with Atlanta, Georgia. And of course, you couldn't even leave the house, not unless you were going to work. So I found a loophole in that process. That loophole, I had owned several cars. I was like, let me try my hand at Uber just so I can get out the house and have a little peace of mind so I won't go stir crazy because I live alone. And I met this young lady at the airport. She was from Memphis and her name was Audrey. And Audrey got into my car and she looked around. It's like, okay, you do a little bit more than Uber because this is a really nice car. And I thanked her and we got to talking. And lo and behold, she found out that I did Amazon for a living. And so she was extremely interested and she was like, okay, how can I learn? How much is it going to cost me? So she became one of my mentees. And this is her sending me a text message saying, hey, I'm now bringing home $3,000 to $5,000 every 2 weeks. Okay. And when I was in Sosua, Dominican Republic, I was constantly giving presentations on Philly Dom's YouTube channels. And his subscribers would see that I was in Sosua, Dominican Republic, and that was close, just a 3 hour plane flight from the East Coast of the United States. And many of them say, hey, Wayne, I want to come meet you in person and sit down in your living room and see this unfold. I want you to teach me in person. So this was three clients that flew in all at the same time during the same week. And I was able to teach them all in person. Jay Gustavo was from Boston, Mike Logan was from Virginia, and Ernest Fultz was from the DC area. And this is me right in the dining room table in the living room at my villa in Sosua, Dominican Republic, teaching all three of these guys at the same time. And right now I'm in Thailand, and this is Ernest Fultz again. And this is Ernest and I in Bangkok about a month and a half ago. And we were both on our way to the Philippines. He was going to Los Angeles, and I was going to Manila. And so we kind of met up in Bangkok and got some more work in. And it was kind of funny that I met him in Sosua, Dominican Republic, and then now here we are in Thailand, meeting up again, still working together to this day. And this was my first Canadian client, Renee. And this was her screenshot and message to me once she made her very first sale. So obviously she was super happy about that. All right. And I teach so much more than just all those other business models in Amazon. I also teach clients how to do Amazon KDP, and that's publishing books on Amazon. And it doesn't have to be a book that you have to formally write. It can be a journal, also a coloring book. And so this is another student of mine. This is Soba. And this is Soba sending me a screenshot of her account. And within her first month of publishing her journals and coloring books, she was making close to $2,000 a month. And then in her next month, she was closing in on $6,000 a month. So shout out to Soba. And also, while I was in the Dominican Republic, this is Ronnie. Ronnie flew out to the Dominican Republic all the way from California. So, that's a serious flight because one, you got to fly 5 hours from California to the East Coast and then transfer to another flight just to get to the Dominican Republic. And that's another 3 hours. So that's an 8, 9 hour journey just to come to the DR and meet me in person. And so he came and met me in person and we hung out, but we did very little business. However, when Ronnie got back to California, he was all about business. And he was actually my first client to produce his own very own private label product. So if you go to Amazon and you look up RBW Successful LLC. You'll see his Dead Sea Mud mask. All right. So, it doesn't matter whether or not you want to learn arbitrage or private label. I can teach you everything. I'm one of the few Amazon FBA experts in the world that can teach you almost every facet of making money with Amazon. And just off the top of my head, there are like seven, eight, nine of them. Okay. So trust me, you will not be at a loss of income or passive income with the Amazon business model. It is a true behemoth. And again, my purpose for doing this is just to try to help as many people as possible. So right now, my mentorship is over. So no more $2,500 payments, no more $7,500 payments. I'm actually bringing in 100 beta testers, and I'm giving you access to all my knowledge in my course for $169 a month. And the class is held every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you missed the class, don't worry, I record it and then upload it to the course so you can watch it back in real time and follow along and catch up to the rest of the students. And once I receive 100 beta testers and all those slots are full, this will be the my formal business model moving forward. So if you join the course on my website in the future, then the basic course just to join is going to be $197. And then when you want to learn more and go to the intermediate course, it's going to be $497. And when you want to start mastering Amazon FBA, it's going to be $1,000. And then if you also want additional success and support, you can join by subscription model for $47 a month. And so when you add those up, it's like $1,700 a month. So if you're seeing this presentation now and you're able to jump on the $169 a month program, don't drag your feet and don't wait because those 100 slots are filling up quickly. Now, this is another client of mine. This is Adrian, and Adrian and I have been good friends for about another 10 or 11 years. And again, I've known Adrian through volleyball. And Adrian actually took a trip with me to Costa Rica, and we sat down and spent the whole week in Costa Rica working on her book and just laying down the seed because she was like, okay, I want to do Amazon FBA, but more importantly, I wanted to just publish a book first. So, we put together an outline and, we went on excursions during the day and worked at night. And then after that, I went to Africa. And after Africa, I came to Thailand. And then she contacted me and said, hey, I got some more free time off of work. I want to come out to Thailand for 6 weeks and finish up my book. And that's exactly what she did. She flew out to Thailand to come train with me. And we systematically put a book together. And this is the end result. And obviously, this is available for Amazon. It's called Mind Over Misery. You may have seen on social media. This is a book of another client of mine. His name is Mike McClellan. He's from the UK, and he's dating a young lady who has a daughter who's 8 years old. And he asked me to help him write a book that was pretty much a uh, lifelike rendition of his girlfriend's daughter. And he's like, let's take her on a fantastical journey. And so this is a representation of her. And, the book is called Journey of Dreams and Self-Discovery. And it is available for sale on Amazon.uk. This is another client of mine. His name is Sean Kendrick. And his book is called From Chaos to Calm, Breaking the Cycle of Overthinking, available on Amazon. And this is Philly Dom's list of publishing works. So while Philly Dom and I were in Brazil, Salvador Bahia, I actually started training him in person because we were hanging out in Brazil for like 4 months. And his first book was how to break into the Alaska seafood industry. He had done that type of work in the past. He made great money. and he wanted to write a book because people would always ask him, okay, how'd you get into that line of work and how could I do it? So that's what his first book was about. And then, of course, he's a YouTuber. His YouTube channel is called Philly Dom, as you see, just as the name of his book. And he also wrote a unfiltered behind the scenes of YouTube book. And then he also wrote his third book, which is called Philly Dom, The Forgotten Father Story. So he has a girlfriend in Brazil, not Brazil, but Belize, and they had a son together. And his trials and tribulations of working that out and caring for his son. And then, of course, he wrote another book called Philly Dom, Life and Truth. So pretty much all the questions that people uh, frequently ask about him and want to know about his life. And so shout out to Philly Dom for being my client with the most amount of published books with 5. All right. Now, if you're saying to yourself, okay, Master Wayne, that's fine. We see that you're successful and you've helped a lot of people make money, but what have you done personally? Well, I like to give away full transparency. So you're currently looking at a screenshot of me at an ATM machine. And as you can see on the ATM machine, I'm holding up my debit card. So I'm a retired military veteran from the Army. And as you can see, I'm holding up my debit card and the last 4 digits of 7854. And right on the ATM machine, you can see I'm making a withdrawal from my checking account. And from that checking account, you can see the last digits of my card number, which are 7854. And my camera flash is blocking out the 4. And you can see that in my savings account, that's $100,000 just sitting there doing nothing but collecting dust. And you can see that in my checking account, there's $1,298,868 just sitting there, earning me a little bit of interest annually, accruing. All right. Now, if that's not enough, he's like, okay, Wayne, that's nice. That's a screenshot. So here's another screenshot. This is my main Amazon account that I run. And you can see my total balance was sitting at $26,584. And if you're thinking to yourself, okay, Wayne, that's all fine and dandy, but um, let's see video evidence. Okay, so this is me in Santo Domingo, where I was for 6 months in the DR. And here's my computer set up with the 3 monitors that you clip on. And as you can see, here's my mouse on the computer hitting refresh. It's refreshing the page. And since I'm in the DR, it's trying to revert me over to Spanish, but I kept it in the English. And there's my total balance a few days later, $32,784.52. And I'm going to hit the refresh button yet again. So you can see this is not Photoshop or any type of screen magic or any type of smoke screen, nothing like that. And you can see that this is real, 32,000. And that's what's going to be deposited into my Amazon account. And you can see I made $712 in sales. And this was early in the morning, like 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. So can you imagine waking up every morning and you've already made like close to $1,000 before the day even gets started, before noon, actually. And if that's not enough, then I even included this. This is an actual uh, picture or screenshot of my bank statement from Navy Federal Credit Union. And you can see down here, Amazon deposit of $35,000. And you can even see how much money I spent that particular month. I spent $23,000. And you can see how much money I saved, $14,000. How about another bank statement from a different period of time? Same thing, $32,000 in deposit from Amazon, $27,000 in withdrawals, and boom, I saved $5,000 that I didn't spend. And here's a third one. This is actually what I call a bad month. So I only made $29,000 for the month from Amazon. I spent 27,000 and saved about 3,000. So you can see, I don't save money. It just happens automatically because every month I make more money than I spend. And Now I'm going to show you a little bit of my lifestyle so you can see that I'm not just sitting behind my computer blowing smoke up here. You know what? I'm actually in the trenches doing work, traveling around the world, living my best life. So this is Los Terrenos, Dominican Republic, and you can see how beautiful that is. Rooftop villas, and you got four different floors. So I'm sitting outside, and the sun is starting to set, and you can see the pool in the background and a little bit of the town. And my Dominican girlfriend and I were living in Sosua, which is, how long did it take? It's like a 3, 4 hour drive to get to Los Terrenos, maybe five. I can't quite remember, but it's just a nice little drive. But this is a vacation and a vacation. So we took a week vacation to Los Terrenos, and this is me sitting at my computer, and this is her just snapping a picture of me real quick because that's what she did. She always was taking pictures of herself or me. And here I am in Thailand drinking a watermelon smoothie, my favorite. I eat fruit every day. And here I am in Salvador, Bahia, Brazil. And in Rio, they ride these electric bikes up and down the coastline and boardwalk every single day. So I was like, man, I like those. I want to get one of those. So when I got to Salvador, I found a shop that sold them. And so I walked in, and it's like, look, swipe my card. Let me get that one. And here are some of my other travel destinations: Hoover Dam, Guadalupe, Colombia, Dominican Republic. That's actually Punta Cana. And yes, I did build that little alligator right there in the sand. I've always been kind of creative and artsy. And I took a trip out to Las Vegas. It was like the winter of 2017. And I was there for 30 days. And I was staying at the Luxor, and I used to go downstairs in the Luxor, and they had this buffet of crab legs, king crab legs, already sliced in half. So all you got to do is reach in, pull the meat directly out, slap it in a little sauce and butter, drape a little lemon on it, and I would literally gorge and stuff myself on this. And I was in pretty good shape back then, and I kind of got out of control and a little gluttony, and lost my six pack for a minute, but now I have it back. And so I'm 51 with a six pack because this is the only body I'm ever going to have in life. And I was never really one to believe that your soul was inside of your body. I always believed that your body was inside your soul. So your body is like a loaner from God. And when you pass away, God takes a look at your body and was like, okay, that's what you did with the loaner that I gave you. So that's just how I look at things. So, every day, I take immaculate care of my temple, because that's what your body actually is. It's your true temple. And so this is how you actually serve God. You know, going to church and dressing up and putting on, your best Sunday gear, that's nice. But when it all boils down to is, how are you caring for the temple in which God gave us all? And then this is me in Senegal, Africa. And I've also been to Nairobi, Kenya. And I've also been to Morocco. And later on in 2025, I'm going to South Africa. So that's kind of what I do. I take vacations within vacations. All right, so here I am. As you can see, I have a love for motorcycles. So while I was in the Dominican Republic, I actually purchased a motorcycle for myself and my Dominican girlfriend. She was just ecstatic. She was super happy. It was her first motorcycle ever. And I love flying. So I do helicopter tours, parapente. I've been skydiving. And I like good luxury accommodations, because when you're traveling, you need to feel safe and you need to have good security, because the last thing you want to do is lose your documentation or all your money. And then you have to try to, figure out how to navigate that challenge. All right, so here I am skydiving in the ATL, lots of fun. And here I am in Medellin, Colombia, and this is called parapente. They put you in a parachute harness, Bring you off the side of a cliff, literally sailing in the clouds. It is a fantastic and my only advice is when you're gonna do this, make sure that you go on the warmest day possible. When you're that high in elevation, next to the clouds, it's cold. And here I am at the top of Tres Cruces Mountain in Medellin, Colombia. And you got to be in shape to get up this mountain because when you look back, the whole city is going to be beneath you in the valley. And so, even though I was in good shape, you can see, and the abs all ripped up. I had to take a break halfway just to catch my breath because the altitude and air pressure is so high that, you're not going to be used to that, not unless you're from Denver, Colorado. All right. And then whenever I wasn't traveling, I came home to the United States, I was a sports enthusiast. So this was my road dog at the time. Shout out to Lemire. And we would go to all the games, the Braves, the Falcons, the Hawks, and the Atlanta United. And we used to go on little adventures, go on a Segway tour. We would go mountain climbing, take a mountain hike up to Stone Mountain or Kennesaw Mountain. Or we would do rock climbing, just a myriad of things, because I'm always been active and I like to get out and do things. And this is what I was speaking about previously. This was my Dominican girlfriend. And this is before, I started taking her to the gym with me every day. So she was still thick right there. And this is her first motorbike. And she was so happy she named it Kitty. And I bought one for myself and I bought one for her. And we also had a nice little rental car and a fabulous, luxurious life. And before the pandemic happened, I used to travel every other month to Dallas, Texas, to the city right next to Dallas, Texas, called Cumberland, Texas, and go to this fantastic place called Spa Castle. All day spa, 24 hours a day, built-in hotel, restaurants, two Olympic-sized swimming pools, like 3 or 4 jacuzzis, like 8, 9 different saunas, tanning beds, indoor pool with a gigantic screen, a bar. Just man, this is just a weekend of rest and relaxation and water therapy that is bar none. This is me in Medellin, Colombia, celebrating Halloween. And when I tell you they celebrate Halloween, they celebrate Halloween. For them, their Halloween would be like our 4th of July, Labor Day in the United States, where everybody cooks out, goes hard, and has a good time. They do this for Halloween. And here I am in Costa Rica going whitewater rafting. So much fun. The rapids were crazy that day. Almost got thrown out the boat several times. Here I am. Before I went outdoor skydiving, I went indoor skydiving so I could learn the mechanics because it's counterintuitive. When you lean left, you go right. And when you lean right, you go left. So you got to get that down in your head because you'll be trying to go left by leaning left, and that's not going to happen. So you got to reverse your polarity. And when you travel, you meet some of the best people in the world because everybody is usually on vacation or they're just happy to meet you. They want to know where you're from. And I've met some of the most fantastic people just out traveling, of course, I love being around water. So I've actually done quite a few cruises too. I've done 3 different cruises. And, this is what life is about. It's about being the best version of yourself, going out, meeting people, and living, without any burden on your shoulder of, man, I'm in debt and I hate my job or I dislike my life. Um, Here I am covered with mud. This is in Cartagena, Colombia, and this is the Totumo volcano. They take you up these gigantic set of steps and lower you down into the pit of a volcano mouth, and it's filled with mud. And you just cover yourself in mud, and it's fantastic. Now, I'll warn you, mud is not as buoyant. Actually, mud is much more buoyant than water. So when you're in mud, you have to stay straight up and down because if you tilt 15 degrees in any direction, you're going to flop over in that direction. So there's people in down there in the mud pit with you to make sure you know what you're doing. Because if you flip over forward, man, unless you know how to center your gravity, you won't be able to flip back over on your back and you'll drown in the mud. So great excursion, but very dangerous to the novice. And here I am. I had a little penthouse in Cartagena, Colombia, and here I am on the balcony smoking a nice cohiba. And here I am rock climbing with my road dog Lemire, and we were in Texas, and this is the highest mountain climbing peak in all of Texas. Might be the United States because it's built into a grain silo, which looks like a missile silo. And here I am in Costa Rica going zip lining, and this is the longest zip lining course in Costa Rica. It took 2 hours to complete the whole course. And you weren't allowed to touch the trees, or actually you were encouraged not to touch the trees because some of the trees have fire ants the size of your thumb. So unless you wanted to get bit by ant and have it feel like a bee sting, you had to not touch the trees and watch where you stepped. And here I am back in Atlanta. This is horseback riding, going four-wheeling. This is me in Rock City, Tennessee. And this is me at Stone Mountain going on a Segway tour. So as you can see, super active, always doing something. I just love uh, making every day original. And while I was out in Las Vegas for my niece's wedding, I also rented this drop top Corvette, and I drove it around every day, every inch of Las Vegas. Just had a good time. Dropped the top, connected my phone to the Bluetooth, and started playing my playlist and just rocking out, just enjoying the sights and sounds of Las Vegas. And man, it was surreal. And then I passed this helicopter spot, and I saw on the billboard that they were doing helicopter tours to the Grand Canyon. So I whipped a U-turn in the Corvette, pulled up in there, and be like, okay, I want to book a tour to the Grand Canyon and one of your helicopters. And the next morning they came to pick me up from the Luxor Hotel, put me in, got on the little bus, and they drove us to the airfield. We all jumped into this helicopter, and it was like five of us plus the pilot. And they flew, took about an hour to get to the Grand Canyon from Las Vegas. And next thing we knew, the helicopter was landing in the pit of the Grand Canyon. And it used to be an ancient ocean bed. And when you land that far down to where the river is at the bottom, you're actually several hundred feet underground, so below sea level. And when you get out the helicopter and they turn off the helicopter, it's complete silence, utter silence that you've never even heard before. And you'll be able to hear your heartbeat, and you'll be able to hear yourself swallowing. And if you're not listening to that ambient noise, you won't hear anything else. And so, and then the other thing I noted is that being that far below ground, it sort of still felt like you were still underwater. You feel like you're underwater. You can still feel that pressure, so to speak. And when the helicopter is flying out of the Grand Canyon, it looks like a little pebble compared to how massive this canyon actually is. And this is my home in the ATL. And these are two of my babies. So these are Lincoln MKZ hybrids, black labels, and fully loaded. Two of the best cars on the planet. And they are identical. Just one is white and one is black. I got the white one first. Loved it so much. It's like, let me go buy a black one. And this is my third baby. This is the BMW i8 with the gull wing doors, super fast, like a rocket ship, and compact and nice little coupe. And it's also a hybrid. And hanging on my wall in the garage are my two electric foldable 10-speed bikes. So I used to hit the Silver Comet Trail and put these on my bike rack, drive to the Silver Comet Trail, unfold them, jump on, ride out about 10 miles till I'm dead tired, flip on electricity, twist the handle, boom, ride back on electricity, and never even pedal. And this is me. This is sort of my setup in the DR in Sosua. So this is the inside of the villa. And as you can see, my three monitors set up. And here's actually a video of the villa. I had a film crew come out to film, what this villa looked like. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Bienvenidos. Welcome to my crib. Come on in, let me give you a tour. So here's the living room. And that's the pool. Pool was in the front of the villa, massive. And they had all these beautiful fauna and flowers, and a gazebo in the back, and of course a grill, and a massage room, and three king size beds with air conditioning, and a little patio. There was $3,000 a month. Thank you for visiting. I hope you enjoyed your stay. And if you're ever in town again, make sure you come back and visit again. This is where I was for the entire year. I absolutely loved it. And it's funny because there were pineapple trees in the front yard, coconut trees in the backyard, and papaya trees. So fresh fruit straight off the trees. I had a fantastic time. That was a good year. And this is all I do with my life. I live and breathe Amazon. And here I am on a field trip with other Amazon sellers from the Atlanta area. And so I give you a formula, and that formula is real plain and simple. And it's analyzing all the data to make sure that you will succeed. So one, is the product that you're about to purchase profitable? All right. Two, what's the return on investment on that particular product? And three, how many FBA sellers are already selling that product, along with how many merchant sellers are selling that product? What's the difference between a FBA seller and a merchant seller? Well, an FBA seller ships their products into Amazon fulfillment centers, and a merchant seller actually doesn't ship their product into an Amazon fulfillment center. Their product is either at their house or in a garage or storage unit somewhere, or at a distributor. And once they are alerted by email that their product on Amazon sold, and then they could then have the responsibility of shipping that product out to their customer. So that's the difference. And the other difference is FBA sellers pay out a fee of 15% to Amazon for the whole transaction, whereas merchant sellers pay 5%. But again, they have to pay their own shipping and handling. So it ends up being the same in my opinion. And number five, I'll teach you how to know how much inventory your competition has in stock, because you need to know that information in order to make a good informed decision. Number six, I'll teach you how to analyze and read the bestseller ranking. Bestseller ranking gives you some type of indication as to how fast or slow a particular product is selling. Number seven, are you even eligible to sell said particular product? You need to know that in advance. And if you're not eligible, how do you become eligible to sell it? Number eight, how many times per month does this product sell? That's short, cut, and dry. You need to know that. Does it sell 100 times a month? Or does it sell 10 times a month? Or does it sell 1,000 times a month? Knowing that information is crucial. And one next is nine is, can you sell said particular product internationally? Can you sell it in the United States? Can you sell it in Mexico? Can you sell it in Germany? Can you sell it in Japan? Can you sell it in India? You need to know this because those are huge marketplaces for you to tap into. Now, this is something that I saw online one day, and I just loved the actual meaning behind it. So I wanted to keep it and I wanted to share it with you. And the figure on the left is asking a question. And he's like, where did you find that? I've been searching for it everywhere. And the figure on the right says, I created it myself. And he's holding a jar of happiness. So whether or not it be happiness or success, it's something that you choose and it's something that you have to create. I could walk you to the water, show you where the fresh water is to drink, but I can't make you drink. Okay. And my course is currently accepting beta testers. I need 100 beta testers to actually look at my volume of training and the videos and the courses that I've created and the classes that I'm doing and critique everything, poke around at different links, make sure everything is in working order, make sure no links are broken. Let me know whether that you find any mistakes or anything I need to edit and give me that feedback so I can perfect my course. Because if you're going to put something up on the internet, it needs to be quality because you're sharing it with the world. And the last thing you want are bad reviews. So, I kind of like to teach people in real time and I need to make sure that everything is in working order. And, I'm not going to lead with my ego and assume that what I'm doing is good enough. I need to constantly always be making improvements. And after I get 100 beta testers filled up, I'm going to revert over to the business plan that will uh, be the future business plan of my FBA business. So you'll be able to join my course in the future for a one-time price of $197 that I get you into the basic course. And then once you want to upgrade to the intermediate course, that'll be $497. And then once you want to graduate to the mastering level, that'll be $997. And then if you want to join my Amazon Success Club, that'll be $47 a month recurring. So try to jump on the 169 beta tester group while it's hot and it's available because those 100 spots are starting to fill up quickly. Now, I like to be fully transparent as always. So here are your monthly expenses. And if you can't handle this, then this business model is not going to be right for you. So first, you're going to need a prep and ship company. I can get you connected with the prep and ship company that all of my clients use. They have a one-time payment of $49, and you also put up a deposit of $100. All right. Next, you're going to need 5 different subscriptions. One is your product lead subscription. This gives you 10 products every single day, Monday through Friday, that you could already sell, right? They're already there. My VAs have already done the work and found these deals for you. All you have to do is review all 10 and choose one to purchase and ship it into Amazon, and boom, that's it. All the work done for you, right? And this is the problem that I see so many Amazon sellers have that kills their businesses. They don't know what to sell. They don't know how to get leads. And so, they'll spend 2 hours looking for one product to sell. And after that, they're worn out. I take that out of the equation altogether. So, when you get the product lead subscription, Monday through Friday, or Monday of every week, you'll receive a whole list of 50 products. So that's 10 products for every single day. So that's more than enough to get you started. And you will only have to purchase 2 products a week getting started, because Amazon just wants to see you open up an Amazon professional seller account, and they want to see you ship products into Amazon and sell those products, and get good reviews and start making your Amazon customers happy, because that's all Amazon cares about. Now, if you set up an Amazon business and you don't ship in the products and you don't do anything with your account, they will deactivate it. So, you'll just be wasting your time and your money. Next, you'll need software number 2, which is $20 a month. Software number 3 is $40 a month. Software number 4 is $64 a month. And software number 5 is $79 per month. Now, also, my membership subscription for this whole entire beta course is $169 a month. And to have access to a professional Amazon seller account, it's $39 per month. So that means your total recurring business costs to run a global Amazon business is $552 a month, right? And then factor in the 2 products that you're going to be ordering, and your products might cost $20, might cost $50. And you only do that twice a week, on Monday and on Friday, and that's it. So you could probably run this entire business for a monthly operating cost of $600. If that's too much for you, then please don't do this, because you're going to drown. All right. So, and if you don't have more than $600 to play with to start a business anyway, then this just isn't going to be the right opportunity for you at this time. So, I want to just be transparent and make sure that you know that, so you're not walking into anything blindly. And again, when the beta test group phase is over and I have 100 people poking around, trying to break my website, making sure that everything works and everything is in order, it's going back to this payment plan. So right now it's $169 a month. But after that, I'm reverting it to this plan right here, where it's going to be 4 different price points: $197, $497, $997, and $47 a month. So if you want to take advantage of this opportunity, come on right now as one of my beta testers, because those 100 spots, as I said before, they're filling up fast. All right, and now I want to give you just a brief summary so you'll know exactly what it is I do and how I sort of set you up on the path to success. All right, so the first thing I do is I try to walk you through the application process and setting up your Amazon seller account. Next, I teach you how to format your Amazon account for the FBA business model. 3, how to register for the 5 softwares and then sync those softwares up to Amazon. 4, add you to the WhatsApp group and welcome you into the beta group so you can meet the other clients and you all can start discussing business and where everybody is and what everybody's doing and so forth and so on. Number five, I will orientate you to Seller Central and the software. So how to use the softwares and how to actually navigate your Amazon Seller Central account and that whole back office. And six, I will start training you how to research and analyze all the products that you'll be scanning. And so you can decide on whether or not you want to purchase said product and ship it into Amazon. Number seven, how to set up and format your prep and ship spreadsheet. So once you get started with the prep and ship center, I'll show you how to set that all up and who to contact and what to say and how to do it. And number eight, I'll teach you how to use your repricer, how to back up your data, and how to reverse analyze other sellers. And this is huge because one, almost all Amazon sellers have a repricer, so their repricer can adjust their prices in real time, 24 hours a day, so you don't have to do it. So you can always make sure your products are positioned to sell. All right. Next is cash back, extensions, coupons, and cash back credit cards. So before you purchase some of these products and decide to send them into Amazon, you're going to be able to get cash back before you even purchase it, and that increases your profit. Also, there will be coupons available, and that also will increase your profit. And last but not least, cash back credit cards, and yes, more profit. All right. And last but not least, once I teach you, the basics of arbitrage, I then work on graduating you to wholesale and manufacturing game, at which case you're going to be obtaining authorization to sell the biggest name brand planets, the biggest name band, the biggest name brand products on the planet. There we go. It's early in the morning, so I'm not a morning person. All right. And this takes you to the next level. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Again, I hope this wasn't too long, but if you are interested in joining my beta testing group, then you can go ahead and email me at alldaybiz@gmail, as you see right here on the screen. And also add my phone number to WhatsApp because that's how I communicate with all my clients. And so this is a wonderful opportunity for you. If you are seeing this for the first time or sharing it with someone, then please try to do so as quickly as possible because once my 100 beta tester spots are filled up, it will no longer be $169 a month. It'll be $1,700 to actually join and learn everything. So, I'm trying to just give back and, bless 100 people who are in the right place at the right time. And that's it for the presentation. I want to thank you for joining. Again, I'm Master Wayne, aka Wayne McShay. And if you have any questions or if I didn't make anything clear or you need something answered, then reach out to me via email or WhatsApp, and or you can even message me, let me know that you want to arrange a phone call or Zoom, and we can do that. And I'll explain everything to you in detail. Master Wayne, out.